Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're live following Sunday, but it ain't a happy reaction. Let's talk about it. I'm gonna start the intro. We'll talk all about it. Oh my God. Oh man, that was a tough loss. Faithful, we're sitting here after a 28-14 loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I said it was a trap game all week, and it looks like it was a trap game. Oh man, what's up, everybody? That was a tough loss because the Niners, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot, just like they do with every game they lose. They shoot themselves in the foot. Self-inflicted wounds. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo said today. He was 100% right. They had 2 interceptions. I mean, one of them was kind of at the garbage time of the first half. I don't really call that one. But the fumble, Jeff Wilson Jr., missed opportunities, a lot of drops. Jimmy was throwing dimes today. I mean, they just couldn't catch the ball. Ray McLeod, McKittle, Debo, there's just a lot of drops. They finally utilized Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk had a hell of a game and couldn't take advantage of it, man. And then the defense, they didn't play the greatest game they could have all week, but they had a lot of injuries. I will say this. Atlanta, remember we said they score about 24 points a game. The Niners held them to 21 points. They held them to 21 points, the defense actually. So 49ers defense kind of regrouped a little bit towards the end. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. They were running down the Niners' throats. Nick Bosa was a big loss. Kyle Pitts, big touchdown. Linebackers weren't playing their best. Fred Warner didn't have the best game of his career. And, without the Emmanuel Mosley, you had Deommodore Lenoir in there starting. But then Mooney Ward goes down, groin injury. They throw Womack in there in the fire. That was just tough to see. They started moving the ball. Marcus Mariota only missed. He had 1 incompletion that came in the fourth quarter. Marcus Mariota was out there looking like Patrick Mahomes. Looked like him out there, bro. And then the bootleg touchdown. Man, Marcus Mariota looked good today. I'm not even going to lie. Atlanta came in and dog-walked us. Shout out to the team. They fought hard. A lot of injuries. I mean, you guys saw the injury list. Let me put this. This is crazy. Look at this injury list, dude. Oh, my God. Do I have it on here? Yeah. Did I save it on here? Let me see. I know I thought I put it up here. Oh, here it is. Look at this. Look at these injuries. So, of course, Trey Lance, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Kroft, MCL sprain, Jordan Matthews out there, Trent Williams, he was out, Colton McKivitz, Mike McGlinchey left the game. They had to put Dan Brunskill in. Nick Bosa obviously was out. Samson Ebicab, he stayed in. He left for a little bit. Kinlaw's out. Armstead's out. Maurice Hurst is out. Azeez Al-Shahir. Demetrius Flanagan fouls. Emmanuel Mosley, Travarius Ward with the great groin. Jason Verrett, Jimmy Ward. I mean, even Talanoa Hufanga had a point where he left the game for a second. Then he came. Like, this game was just crazy, man. Those injuries were rough. I'm not going to blame this game on injuries because there was more to it. Just bad play calling. I don't know. The decision-making was crazy. Because look at this. The 49ers threw the ball 41 times. 41 times. 41 times. We ran the ball 16 times. If the 49ers are running the ball 16 times, they're not going to win the game. I mean, I know they were forced to because they were playing from behind, but 41 times, man, that was just a lot. And you're going to force Jimmy to be a passer, and that typically doesn't win you games with the Niners. And he was having a good day. But then, obviously, when they know he's going to throw, they're going to sit there, tip passes, and he's going to throw interceptions at that point. That second interception, they were waiting for that. And it's unfortunate. And then that last quarter, I think it was like an 8-minute. They went 8 minutes. They drove down the field for 8 minutes, and they scored nothing. You go 8 minutes on a drive, and you score nothing. Time management was awful. That was awful time management, man. God, man, that fumble stopped momentum. VZ says, yeah, after the fumble, they stopped running. You're right, because I feel like Kyle didn't trust anybody. Tevin Coleman didn't get into later in the game. I think if the running back makes a mistake, go throw someone else. You got Jordan Mason. Give this kid a chance. Ty Davis Price. Like, why did you draft these young guys? I don't know. Kyle doesn't trust young players. And I feel like whenever the run game falters around the guy he does game plans for, this happened with Elijah Mitchell, right? Week 1, Elijah Mitchell goes down, and Kyle was like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And that's exactly what happened. Jeff Wilson, he goes down, or he has the fumble, right? And the run game kind of takes a little hit, and then Kyle Shanahan's like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And it's exactly what happened, man. It's tough. That's tough. That Wilson fumble was huge, momentum killer. The Niners went down 14-0 quick. They went down, but they got momentum back, and Brandon Ayuk really got him back in the game, man. And I was feeling, I was okay. Niners coming back. Keep the faith. Just calm down. And I mean, I thought the Niners were going to take back momentum, but it just didn't. It just didn't happen. Second half, they didn't make those adjustments on offense, and Atlanta, they had their way in the run game. They ran the ball down their throats. Look at this. Huntley had 59 yards rushing. Algier had 51 yards rushing. Marcus Mariota had 50 yards rushing. They had 168 total yard rushing. They were just pounding the ball down us. We couldn't stop it. We couldn't stop the ball. We couldn't stop them, man. They weren't even throwing much, but when they were throwing, it was effective because we couldn't stop the run, and then we played for the run, and then boom, here he comes, Marcus Mariota. 13 for 4. He was 13 for 14. 13 for 14, man. Shout out to Samson Ebicam. He kept his team in the game. I think he had the best performance on defense. But I'll tell you what, without Nick Bosa, run defense struggle because he's underrated against the run. I don't think people realize how good Nick Bosa is against the run. Massive loss. Arik Armstead, losing him was big, obviously, and it really showed today. Hassan Ridgeway didn't really get enough push up front. He didn't look good today. Kevin Givens didn't really stand out to me like he has been all year. Again, Atlanta does a great job of running the ball, and they did that today. They outran the Niners, which is crazy because this is crazy. The Niners ran the ball 16 times. Atlanta ran the ball 40 times. It should have been reversed. It should have been reversed. The Niners run the ball so much, and today they barely ran the ball. They frustrated us. You could tell Brandon, talking about frustrations, you could see how frustrated Brandon Ayuk was after the game. The press conference, he was just like, oh, man, because he knows he did everything he could to try to help put this team on the map and get back in the game. And, his efforts were kind of for nothing, really. I mean, Brandon Ayuk was out there balling. Niners couldn't capitalize. Again, a lot of drop passes, a lot of missed opportunities. It's crazy. Brandon Ayuk, best game of his season, 8 catches, 83 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 11 targets. George Kittle was getting in the mix, 8 catches, 83 yards, 10 targets. Deebo Samuel, 7 catches, 79 yards, 10 targets. But there were some big blunders, man. Again, some tough drops, and those really came back to hurt the Niners. If you're not going to convert on those plays on third down and then stretch the game, you're not going to win. And then Atlanta knew it. And they just took advantage, and they had momentum. We couldn't take momentum out of Atlanta. This was a tough game to lose. Obviously, is the season over? No, they're 3-3. Both teams are 3-3. The NFC's wide open, but next game is going to be tough because they do play the Kansas City Chiefs, who are on right now. Patrick Mahomes, he's a great quarterback. Marcus Mariota carved him up, 13 out of 14. I don't know what I don't know what Patrick Mahomes could do to this team. We'll definitely talk about that this week, but that's kind of scary to think about. Definitely a frustrating loss today because I feel like the Niners just didn't have the energy coming out. The injuries were really tough on them, took a toll, and from the moment the game started, they were just tumbling with injuries. That turf, I hate turf field. Like the moment the game started, Samson Ebicam went down, Talanoa Hufanga went down, and then they came back, and then Charvarius Ward went out for a point of the game, and then he didn't come back. Mike McGlinchey went out, so it's tough, man. I hope we can stay healthy the rest of the way, but this has been a brutal season, man. Chris says they let Jeff Wilson run after the fumble. Yeah, that's a questionable call. If the guy's making mistakes, and no disrespect, because Jeff Wilson has been great this season, but honestly, man, I think at that point, change it up. Go give him Jordan Mason. Go give him something else. See if somebody else can, get the ball running, because sometimes mentally after a fumble, it's tough. It is hard to kind of bounce back after a fumble, man. That's tough. VZ says, at least Jimmy did his part. Receivers were just not making those catches, so he's in the clear this week. I don't really put any blame on Jimmy on this game. He dimed it up. He was making his passes. Obviously, he threw two interceptions. which isn't pretty. But one of those interceptions, man, end of the first quarter or first half. I mean, I don't really put too much stock into that. But the second one, before that play, a drop pass, right? It was a bad call by the ref, and it was a holding. I think there was a holding on Jake Brendel, right? Dimed it up to Brendel. Call gets called back, and then the next play, fucking interception because we gave him an extra opportunity, man. So it was just moments like that. A lot of penalties that negated plays, just silly mistakes. They shot themselves in the foot, man. I think that's what you said. That's what I'm saying. Other teams would bench their running back. Move along. If the guy's making mistakes, he may not be ready for the game. Maybe a mentally bad game. Go to the next guy. Let's figure it out, because in a game, you have to make adjustments. You can't keep trying what's not working. You got to go and try something else that works. And that's the issue is I just feel like sometimes they don't make those adjustments with Kyle. He gets stubborn, man. Very stubborn. Ender says our team always gets huge injuries every year. It's frustrating to see, man. Rep the Bay says the Chiefs are going to demolish the Niners. Probably should forfeit. Nah, man, you can't think like that. It is a week-to-week game. Everybody was confident that the Niners were going to come in and beat Atlanta. You never know. It's a week-to-week game. Any given Sunday, I think the Niners are still a competitive team. They have a great team. I mean, again, they made too many mistakes, and that's it, man. If the Niners can clean up their mistakes in the 3 games they've lost, they've shot themselves in the foot way too many times. It's self-inflicted wounds, 100%. If the Niners execute and play a good, solid game, they win the game. If they go out there and give the other team opportunities, they're going to lose. And that's most teams in the NFL. You have to play a solid game. You can't turn the ball over. You can't give another team, extra chances. We played in their home. They probably felt disrespected. The Niners took over that stadium. The Niner fans, you guys are amazing. You came in, took over their stadium. I think the Falcons felt a certain way. So Dutch says interior run pass blocking today. The interior was just lacking all over because they couldn't get the run game going, couldn't get a push going. They were letting up, Grady Jarrett blowing up the middle all day. Jake Brendel center is an issue. And then not only that, on the pass rush side of it, on defense, again, they could not penetrate. They could not get to Mariota. They could not get up front and stop the run. They were hitting us, man. They were hitting us in the mouth. 3.8 yards a carry pretty much from the running backs. Almost half a first down, basically. It's crazy, man. Just couldn't get a push. And again, Nick Bosa was a glaring loss. And that tells me just how important Nick Bosa is to his team, because he takes a lot of double teams. He absorbs a lot of, attention, and it gives extra way. It gives like free lanes for guys like Charles Omenihu, guys like Samson Ebukam, and other players on that D-line. Nick Bosa has so much attention when he's on the line. It takes away from when he's not on there, they weren't getting all that attention, and everybody was free man to man, and it was hard for some of these players. But again, like I said, Samson Ebukam had a good game, and I think he was the guy that stepped up and really tried to make a difference for this Niner defense. But just wasn't enough without Nick Bosa, and that's what I hope. Bosa's back, and that shows me, man, Nick Bosa definitely needs to be in the consideration for Defensive Player of the Year, because the amount of pressure he puts, the amount of attention he gains on a weekly basis is just so crazy. It's crazy. He garners so much attention on that line. And when he's not there, the D-line isn't as ferocious. They just didn't look as, menacing. I was like, oh, my God. Usually the Niners are always in the backfield. They had their moments today, but it wasn't like, oh, my God, they're just back there, just putting pressure. Because Marcus Mariota had time all day, man. And it was a little frustrating to see. And he was extending plays with his feet. Marcus Mariota looked like him today. He really did, man. Yeah, Marcus Mariota barely threw the ball. Tells us how much Bosa was missed. But when he did throw the ball, he was completing passes like nobody's business, man. My man King J says it's all the DB's fault and the D-line. DBs ruined us. Man, they were giving up a lot of easy passes today. You're right. It's tough when you don't have your best 2 cornerbacks. Diamador Lenore and Womack are definitely not Mosley and Mooney. I'm going to bring in Vlad here. Bring him in. What's up, my boy? How's it going, man?
Hey, rough loss, man. It was rough. It was a bad loss.
How you feeling today?
Hopefully everybody else in the division. I mean, hopefully hopefully The Seahawks lose and the Rams lose, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, dude. It's not. Listen, we can say whatever we want, and you can. I mean, I'm not. Whatever. 14 points against the Falcons. It's unacceptable. Like it just is. Period. If you're gonna sit there and they're gonna say revenge tour, and they're gonna talk about how we're a Super Bowl contender, Jeff Wilson's gonna stand there and be like, we should have 2 Super Bowls. We should be in the Super Bowl. NFC title. I was telling you last night that they should be in the NFC title game. You can't be talking about NFC title games when you're putting up 14 points against the Falcons.
That's what we said last night. We said they have to come out and score more than 21 points, right? We said that last night. They dropped 14 points. Like, this is disgusting. And Jimmy had a good game, dude. Like, he had a dime of a game. He was going blind, bro. I couldn't believe my eyes. I was like, yo, this man came to play. Yeah. Dropping wide open. Oh, God, I think I texted you guys.
Kittle ran that awful route. Yeah, no, I get it. I know. I saw that there was drops. There was the fumble, bad route running. I get it. But you have 60 minutes, 14 points. It's unacceptable. It's not. It's just not. If the broadcasters are gonna sit there and wax Kyle Shanahan and tell you how he's this prolific offensive genius, he's a guru. You can't score 14 points. That's it. And you can't. And it's not Nick Bosa's fault that you didn't score 14 points. The offensive line was fine.
I mean, to an extent, they didn't do a bad job, but I think they were getting eaten up in the middle. Jake Brendle's bad, bro. I don't like him. But to your thoughts, and I agree. 14 points is just not good enough, and that's why I was going with this. Is you got an offensive mastermind, the guru, the genius, Kyle Shanahan, the genius, the self-proclaimed wizard, or whatever you want to call him. 14 points is not good enough, man. Like, it's just not good. If you're a Super Bowl contender, you shouldn't be dropping 14 points. And I know you had a lot of injuries. I totally get it. But you still have Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and the playmaker. Brandon Ayuk had a clinic today, and you dropped 14 points. It's just unexcusable, man. And then, okay, Jeff Wilson Jr., he fumbles the ball. Why don't they use Jordan Mason, man? Like, it just pisses me. This is what we were talking about last night. Go and get a guy like CMC. He would make the offense a little bit scarier. Like, I think they'd be able to score more than 21 points.
I hope so. More than 14.
I don't know, man. It was a frustrating loss, dude.
It's weird because the reason that the loss is so frustrating is because we know the schedule coming up. Yeah. It's Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes they can't wait to light us up. They can't wait. You don't think that they remember that the Niners were celebrating in the third quarter of that Super Bowl? You don't think the Kansas City Chiefs remember that we were dancing? Kendrick Bourne was dancing on the sideline with a whole quarter left. The Kansas City Chiefs can't wait to smoke that Niners pack. They can't wait.
I know.
And then the week after, we got a divisional game
against the Rams. You're right. So we can't take any of these games and that's why it's important to win the games you should be able to win. And no disrespect to Atlanta, because I did say all week, Atlanta's a better team than people give them credit for. They've hung around every game. They scored 24 points. And I said, you got to score more than 24 points. And they just weren't able to. But you're right. Kansas City, man, as much as the Niners want revenge, as much as we want revenge, I remember that. And I still get PTSD. Every time the Niners make a stupid interception and they go and celebrate in the end zone, they do this. I'm like, oh, don't.
Game's not over.
PTSD from that Kansas City game where they looked at that and they were like, okay, you guys are going to celebrate while you're still up. There's still 10 minutes left. I can't do it, man. Every time I see them do that celebration, I get PTSD. And I'm sure the Chiefs see that and they're like, okay, we're going to come for you. So next week's not going to get any easier. I mean, Atlanta was a tough team, but Kansas City's an even better team.
Yeah. And again, they a team like that, they put up points in droves.
They can.
And they don't care. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire is running well. Travis Kelce's playing the best football he's ever played in his life. They're not missing a beat. They're not missing Tyreek Hill. No. They can put up points against anybody.
They're really not. I still think we can match up with them and play them tough. I still don't think it's going to be like a guaranteed win for Kansas City because any given Sunday, nobody thought.
Sure.
I mean, a lot of people didn't think Atlanta was going to come and beat, the 49ers. So I still think it's a win. But, man, if we don't have Bosa, it's not going to be an easy task because Nick Bosa. He is like you could see after today. It just shows you how important he is to he is the defensive player of the year. Like honestly, Nick Bosa, man, this guy is so freaking good, dude. Like this guy, without him, we weren't getting pressure. We weren't able to stop the run. They did whatever they want, and then there was easy. It was easier to complete passes on the back end. Obviously, I know Mooney Ward and E-Man were out, but still, he didn't have pressure up front. They were having a pretty easy day outside throwing the balls. Whenever he needed to throw, Mariota was connecting, man. He was 13 out of 14. Marcus Mariota was 13 out of 14, bro.
Yeah, they looked like a legit football team against us. And I get it. Bosa's not there. Kinlaw's not there. The middle of that defense, Arik Armstead's not there. I get all of that.
I get it.
But you can't put up 14 points against the Falcons, period. You have to do better, period. Because if you're talking about winning, like this team's not a Super Bowl contender. I don't like a couple weeks ago, I really believed they were. You saw the way things were cooking. You're like, they're definitely going to win games against the Falcons. You're definitely not going to lose to teams like that. And then you see them lose to teams like that. And it's like, you still got Kyle Shanahan. It's not going to happen. Like, it's just not going to happen. We need Trey to be Trey. We need to have that, like, a quarterback that transcends. We need to have some kind of like revelation on our offense. Because
it's just like, I don't know, man. No disrespect to Jimmy because he played well, but he's not gonna like sit there and put your team in a position to like go out there and score on one play. He tried today. He was trying to throw those deep passes, bless his heart. But he's not always gonna be that guy that's like Kansas City. If they're down 14 points with 6 minutes left to go, they still have a chance to tie the game up. 49ers, it's not. You're probably like, okay, you're probably gonna lose this game.
Yeah.
And it's not being negative. It's just being realistic because their offense doesn't have that dynamic ability, and they're missing that dynamic ability to stretch the field, one play, score, big play. You got a guy like Danny Gray. He didn't even suit up today. Healthy scratch. That's weird, man. That's another issue that I see. Kyle, man, and as much as he wins games, he loses them. He still is not a 500 quarterback.
Nah.
Coach. If he would have won today, he would have been 500 for his career as a head coach, and he shat the bucket today, man.
Yeah. It's I don't think we're ever gonna. He's never gonna get out of his own way. I don't believe it. He's got to prove it to me. I don't think he will though. And like the team's so talented, I think that they can overcome Kyle. I really do. Like I think this defense and D'Amico Ryans, if everyone's clicking and everything's moving correctly, like I really believe the locker room can overcome Kyle's ineptitude on play calling.
Possibly, because I mean the defense, they did start out tough. They didn't start out great today, but if you really think about it, they ended up only allowing 21 points. So, I mean, yeah, they did make their adjustments and they played good with all the starters they had out. I mean, that to look at it that way and look at the silver lining, it's like, okay, yeah, you know what? They only gave up 21 points when it's like it could have been a lot worse. You know what I mean? Could have been a lot worse. I mean, so with that, yeah, okay, I do know the defense is going to be able to still carry us through games. With Nick Bosa's back, it's got a whole different story, and hopefully Mooney Ward's be able to come back. We can't have two corners back, man. Lost. I mean, if we lose Mosley, that's one thing. You lose Mooney Ward and Mosley, man, that's rough.
Yeah.
But the other part of it was, okay, go to the fourth quarter. They still had a chance to win this game. You're down 2 touchdowns. You still should be able to score 2 touchdowns and tie this game up, right? If you're offensive genius. They took 8 minutes off the clock. 8 minutes off the clock, and they didn't score. 8 minutes off the clock, and they laid a goose, man. When I saw that, I was just like, wow. No urgency, no killer.
I'm telling you, man. He coaches down to the level of the competition he plays. He's not like whatever. Call me a hater. I don't care. Like I've seen enough guys. I know what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, whatever. But in my opinion, when I look at that dude, he can't get out of his own way. It's the same plays. He doesn't change anything. He doesn't change anything. It's the same stuff. And you think like, oh, I'm just going to outsmart the guy. I'm going to call the play this way when he thinks I'm going to call the play that way. And it's like, bro, that's not how you're gonna win games. Not in today's NFL. Not when like penalty flags are going everywhere for deep passes and like fast points and big, like that's what the NFL wants is high scoring, and you think you're gonna outsmart the guy. Look at Belichick, bro. Look at Bill Belichick today with Bailey Zappi.
Zappi, bro. Look at the Jets.
I'm saying. Like even
Aaron Rodgers.
Miami, when they were on their third string quarterback for a little bit, they looked okay. Then he got injured and they completely fell apart. But still, like when Bailey Zappi in his first career start, second career start, whatever it is, can go on the road against Cleveland with Matt Patricia's offense, and he's gonna put up 30 points, and you can't do more than 14 on the Falcons after 6 years.
Yeah, Bailey Zappi is him. That guy came to play today. I was like, what's going on? I was watching that as I'm watching this game, and I'm like, can we score this many points? Like, come on, like it shouldn't be that hard to score points in the NFL if you have
if you have an offensive genius.
That's what I'm saying, and it's not that I hate Kyle, but he's definitely inconsistent, man, and it's frustrating because the Niners, again, it's self-inflicted wounds, man, and they shoot themselves in the foot. The 3 games they've lost this year, it's all bad. They just let the teams hang around, and they make silly mistakes. The first game, penalties, turnovers. Game against Denver, it was just bad play, just stupid turnovers. The safety, and then we kept them hanging around. And then today, we let them get off to a hot start. We turned the ball over, and then we just couldn't capitalize on moving the ball down the field. It was just
and what sucked is those 2 drives when Ayuk scored, really nice play calling, really smooth, open things up. Now, in my head, right, in my brain, I'd be like, all right, if I'm doing this guy knows what I did now, right? If I'm playing, I do jiu-jitsu. If I'm gonna do this way, now this guy's ready for that attack. Now I got to change my attack. Kyle doesn't. He just calls the same plays. He just changes the timing of them.
He just changes the time, or he flips it to the other side. It's the same play.
It's the same play.
He goes, okay, I ran this play to the right. Let me flip it to the left. And he's, it didn't work to the left. Let me go run it back to the right because it worked last time. And then he's like, they schemed it for it. Because then he's like, what do I do? So he just overthinks himself, man. I don't know what it is. And he just never trusts players. Like going into the comments, I see people are like, Coleman and Wilson played bad. Obviously, they did. Why not give Jordan Mason a chance? Yeah. Why not? Like, you got these guys. Like, if you're losing, throw something else that's not working out there and see what's happening. And if Mason sucks, then
we know.
Yeah, it's only one game, but if he's not effective, then Atlanta just knows how you're playing today, and they're the better team. But at least try to change things up because you're right. That drive, those 2 drives where Ayuk scored, I was like, they figured it out. This is it, man. And that's always the Niners. It's like they have these beautiful drives. It's well orchestrated. When they do score, it's just like a well-oiled machine. It's like, oh man, look at this beautiful thing, and it gives you so much hope. And you're like, that's Niner offense. That's what I want to see. And then they go away from it, and then it's like, how did you score so easily at one point in the game, and now it's like algebra for you. You're like trying to figure out the quadratic equation. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, that's what it seems like sometimes. It's like you make it look so easy one second, then the other second you're like,
what the hell?
Crazy, dude.
That's why, whatever is whatever. We have to see what happens this year. And I think next year you're basically going to see roughly the same team with hopefully a healthy Trey Lance. But I'm hoping that the front office is paying attention and they realize we can't just keep pounding our heads against the wall. Like I got to believe that a guy like Sean Payton is going to have a team better prepared after 6 years.
That's an ugly game. Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's like Fred Warner said something like that. He goes, we've been through the same situation for so many times through my time here. Like, for him, like, I don't think people realize what he said. Like, when I listened to his interview, he goes, yeah, we've been through this same situation every year. It's like the same thing every year. I don't like that fact that we go through the same thing every year. We're like, now we're in adversity, and then we're going to pull through it. We're going to go to a point, like, we might lose next week. We might win. Like, if we win, I'll be excited. Right. If we lose, it is what it is. And then we can come back and beat LA. And it's like, okay, we're 4-4 at the bye. Now we can rattle off a few. Like, it's going to be one of those seasons where it's like up and down. Yeah. They catch the groove. They win some games. They limp into the playoffs. And it's like, man, what a hard-fought win by this team. Battle adversity. But it doesn't have to be like that every year, man. It's just like, it's frustrating, man, watching it on TV, and you're just like, all day waiting for this game all week, and then you watch it and you're just like, fuck, now we got to wait till next week, and hopefully we can bounce back. But if not, then we're at the same point as we were last year, basically. We're gonna be 3-4. We might be 3-5, and like, can they battle back? Can they get healthy? They'll be good when they're healthy. We're contenders when we're healthy. It's just, I hate that where it's like the same thing, because it's 6 years, and it changed.
It's the same shit. Yeah. It's excuse my French, but it is. It's the same thing for 6 years. It's like people act like this is a young team, like this is a brand new thing. Like it's a hand-picked roster. You know what I mean? Like this roster's been built. It's not like this was inherited. This isn't an inherited team. You made every decision at every single point again across 53 players. And 14 points is what you're getting after 6 years. And let me tell you something. The Chiefs are holding the Buffalo Bills to 10 points.
Oh, I'm watching this going, this is crazy, dude. Bills are getting...
And I get it. I get it. The Bills can't really run. I get it. They don't really have the best rushing attack, and that's where
Kansas City just let up a ton of points to Las Vegas last week.
Yep.
They made adjustments this week, and this is the Bills. Obviously, at the second half, it might open up a little bit more, but still, they're like, man, if their defense isn't good, but they made adjustments this week to play the Bills. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. I just think like I'm hoping to see the adjustments being made on Kyle's side. And I know people are like, you're a hater, you just hate Kyle, whatever. But it's like, but the thing is I just haven't seen those adjustments.
Yeah.
He's got to show it. D'Amico is trying them. D'Amico was trying today. He's losing everybody though.
Yeah. He did make adjustments. Like I said, the defense played a little bit better in the second half. They settled down a little bit. I'm not going to say his defensive coaching was perfect today, but I think he tried to make a little bit more adjustments than Kyle did today. But I'm gonna switch my position. Watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hop off.
You going off?
Yeah, I gotta hop off, bro.
All right, my man. Hey, appreciate you.
Thank you for having me again.
Yeah, and let's hope we get a dub next week, and this can be a long week this week.
Home game too for the Niners.
God, I hope they don't stink up home game. You know what though? This was a tough 2-week road stretch. I'm sure they'll be happy to come back home. We'll see. All
right, bro.
All right, my man. Yeah. I'm going to put this on a little bit of a break. I need to turn some lights on here, and then we'll continue to stream as I watch this Kansas City game, and I'll answer some of your questions here. Tough loss against the Atlanta Falcons today. All right, we're back. Sorry about the little absence there. So there was a lot of injuries today. There's been a lot of injuries this whole season. What do you guys think about the injuries? Like, that's a concern. To me, it's a concern. Was it the turf? Was it because they played on turf back-to-back weeks? I mean, is it the physical style that they play with? That's something else that we got to discuss this week, is this team is always dealing with injuries, and it's frustrating, man, as a fan to see. I know injuries happen in NFL, and your players are always going to, be at risk for injury. Every team deals with injuries. But, I mean, the injuries that the Niners have are at such a high rate. It's crazy. It's crazy. What do you guys think about the injuries? I don't know. I can't explain it. It does seem like, everybody wants to blame the training staff. I know they went through a training staff already. They hired a new one. So is it the trainers? I don't know, man. But maybe they were just sore from last week's game, because I know Ebicam and Banks were dealing with that. But that turf, man, is unforgiving. They were on 2 straight road games. It's tough. These guys are just playing so hard. And, again, the Niners play so physical. Maybe that physical style is causing them to be sore as they get into the rest of the games. And I don't know. Whatever it is, it's not good, because every single week, man, we lose at least 1 or 2 players to an injury, and it's not like a minor injury. It's a serious thing that becomes something that lingers through the season, right? Charvarius Ward now, groin injury. God, dude, and those things can be tricky. We've already had Kittle miss some time because of a groin, and we've had Nick Bosa lose some time because of a groin. So I'm expecting Charvarius Ward to miss some time, unless it was precautionary. I hope it was a precautionary move, but you don't like to see that stuff, man. Um, Erica says, I don't blame the training staff. I blame the turf and the physical way they play the game. I think I'm more leaning. You know what? I agree with you, Erica. I do feel like this turf is just so damn, tough on the body. And they do. The Niners are a physical team. And when you play that hard, your body's going to take a pounding. Swaggy says, I think it's unfortunate bad luck. That's part of it, too. Luck is definitely part of the equation. We have bad luck. Just bad luck, man. Ryan says, any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone. That's true, too. But you would think that these games like this, where on paper, the Niners look like a better team. You would think, right? I don't know. Definitely tough. Arvin says, the teams that don't suffer major injuries are the ones that have a pass-first team. Well, Niners passed a lot today, 41 times, right? So it's hard to explain the injuries. I mean, we may have to take a deep dive into this during the next couple of weeks because, I mean, these injuries are coming at a high rate. It's like the whole team is almost injured. Like you look at the people that are injured right now. That's an all-star team. That's a starting lineup. Beast Mode says, I think Kyle drains the players tank during practice and they have nothing during the game. That's a very true. That's a very good point too. You know what, Beast Mode? Because, and I've said this a lot. I have talked about how their practices are just so demanding physically, and maybe by the time game day comes, they are just ravaged. Good point. That could be a reason why. You know, there's a lot of reasons, multitude of reasons. Injuries can be caused for many reasons. That's definitely a great point. I agree with that, Beast Mode. So, whew. Let's see. Theo says, if we miss the playoffs, is Shanny gone or will he have a second chance because the starting QB got hurt? You know, we have talked about this. If I'm thinking right now, if the Niners don't make the playoffs, I still think we make the playoffs. This is the thing. I know everybody's upset and we're negative and we're overreaction. It's the overreaction show, right? Initial reactions. Everybody's pissed off, as they should be. Everybody should be a little irritated today. As you know, you lose the game. You're not going to be sitting here happy it's roses. But if the Niners do miss the playoffs, and I'll entertain you, I think Kyle does get us a pass. And it's, I hate to say it because he does have the quarterback pass. He's gonna be like, well, Trey got hurt. I didn't have my team, intact the way I wanted it to. A lot of injuries. I think that's gonna be a built-in excuse. However you want to look at it. But I think that Kyle doesn't get fired. He should be on a hot seat. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I think that seat should be El Caliente. I'm gonna sit here and say that, but I don't think that he'll be on a hot seat because of the fact the quarterback situation. It's a weird dynamic how this team is. But let's see how it plays out. I still think the Niners can make the playoffs. NFC's wide open. So we'll see. Ryan says Shanny's gone if he doesn't win a Super Bowl. We'll see, man. I don't know. It seems like they're gonna give him an extra chance. We'll see. Swaggy says we have a tough schedule. We should have beaten the Bears, Broncos, and Falcons. I know. I agree. Mahomes looks good. Mahomes is good, bro. He's so good, man. Ryan says defense allowed 21 points. They held their own. And that's the thing. They started off so slow this game, but you got to give the defense their credit because they did adjust, man. And that's why I keep saying Samson Ebukam to me was a guy that really stepped up today, and he played his own. He held his own. So I do got to give the defense their credit because they stayed the course, and D'Amico Ryans made adjustments today. So I agree with you, Ryan. They held their own. They started off rocky, but they kind of finished the game in a good mode. Although, you would hope they didn't give up that many points. So. Can I introduce them to the weight room? We got to introduce them to a lot of stuff, Jimmy. We got to get them to a lot of stuff, man. Joe says defense was depleted. Our offense should have helped the defense out. That's the thing. We can never have like I feel like the Niners never have a moment where there's like great offense, great defense. You know what I mean? There's just never one of each, or never both at the same time. It's always like injuries are always going to be there. The defense either balls out and then the offense is like struggling, or the offense plays good and then the defense kind of falters. Or like today, man, the defense played. They adjusted, and then the offense just couldn't bail them out, man. Drop pass, fumble, interception. It's tough, tough. Theo says, "If Aaron Rodgers opts out, we should try to get him." Honestly, man, at this point, if Aaron Rodgers is available, go make a move for him. Try to bring him in. And it's not that I don't believe in Trey. That's a big name quarterback. You might as well see what you can do with him. I mean, I wouldn't hate the move, Theos. We'll see. Green Bay's in a whole hell of a trouble. I think Aaron Rodgers has 2 more years left to go, before he hangs it up. He could probably win more Super Bowl with our team, but you never know, man. I still have a lot of faith in Trey, and I want to see him get his chance next year. It's definitely going to be an interesting offseason, but we can't even look that far ahead because it's still early. Week 6 just finished. We're 3-3. We still got a long way to go. We control our own destiny. So don't give up yet. You got to, one thing I want to say today, because I know there's going to be a lot of irritated people. I got to try to keep it positive some way because you know me. I'm your boy, and I got to come up with some type of positivity. Keep your heads up because we still got a long way to go. A lot of teams are losing today. Like, look at this team. Like, I think Tampa Bay lost today. The Ravens lost today. Green Bay lost today. A lot of teams that should have won today lost today. That's the NFL. It's parity. Any given Sunday. So, got to understand that games are hard to win nowadays. You got to play your best football every week. You got to put your best foot forward, and you can't let teams hang around. You can't make mistakes. So I still think there's a lot of goodness left, but it is going to be one of those seasons where it's going to be up and down, and it's going to be frustrating. Just like Fred Warner says, it's like we do this every year. Swaggy says a lot of teams are 3-3, 100%, man. So is it over? No, don't think it's over, but it is stressful, man. Trust me. Dealing with, seeing the fans and running a page like this, it is so stressful. So I know where you guys are. I know you guys feel upset. So the injuries are frustrating, Empire. I don't know what to tell you about these injuries, man. But I'm gonna call it a day right now. We'll come back a little later live. I'll try to go live on Instagram. I just wanted to share some thoughts. Get Vlad on here, hop on. Maybe we'll get Smitty on the show a little later. We'll talk live. I need to decompress. It's been a busy, stressful day. I hope we get a dub next week. I hope we can move on this week. It's gonna be a long week. But no victory Monday. It's gonna be a frustrating week, but keep your heads up. And again, we'll talk our way through this, and let's finish out the week and let's get some positive energy out there. Again, it was a stressful game. It was a tough game, but it could be worse. At least we're still, controlling our own destiny, and the Niners are still in a good place in the division. That's where we have to kind of really hang our hats on. So I love you guys. Keep the faith. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support. I know we lost, but keep your heads up, man. Love you. Bang, bang. Not a gang.